name is Akhil, and I'm going to audition for the part of Henry for the new TV program, Cosy. The play is set in a Melbourne mental institution in 1971. The Vietnam War had been going on for just over 10 years. Opposition to the war has increased the longer the war had gone on, and rallies and protests against the war had begun to increase also, along with movements for other causes such as equal rights for women and anti-racism protests. The monologue occurs from Act 1, Scene 4, with influences from Act 1, Scene 3. Henry's views are probably the most conservative of any of the characters in the mental institution. He objects to the criticism of the Vietnam War because his father fought in the war. He believes in fidelity, but more thoughtfully, people being true and honest. Though these opinions are strong, Henry's character is quite subservient to Roy, constantly taking orders from him. However, through participating in the opera, Henry is able to give a voice to those opinions. And it is no coincidence that he plays the part of Don Alfonso in Così fan tutte, the wise old philosopher. Performing in this role, Henry has confidence and does not stop it.
He's 5'2" and he's 6'4". He fights with missiles and with spears.
How did I do that? I've never done anything like that. I mean, standing up for myself. I haven't even done that in a courtroom. It feels invigorating. It feels amazing. It feels like I just climbed a mountain. All I needed was that push over the edge. I've been the inferior man all my life, willingly embracing the role of the submissive, despite understanding its consequences. But why? Why am I like this? Why? I guess it was my relationship with my father. My father was a generous soul. My father was the most courageous human ever. My father expected too much of me. This is the first time I've thought about my father since I met Roy. He was my dominant companion for the early years of my life. Like the internal voice inside my head telling me to do better, but he was outside my head. I'm sure I did love him though. My father embedded in me key factors I am fixated on: loyalty, trust, and respect. This was before he went to Korea, the last time I saw him. He was a great and formidable soldier, and for that, he earned my utmost respect, everyone's respect. Roy, well, he's just like my father, another dominant man, one who I've known for 6 years. Over these years, I've learned to cope with his rule. He knows my story. He knows my nature. So who am I kidding? I'm a failure. A failure. Roy obviously believes it. Doug thinks so too. And my father knew it. I lock my fears away. My awkwardness, unconfident behavior, and this stupid stammer I've developed, it's true. I'm a failure. I let people become my superior and bully me. It's who I've become, but not who I want to be. Only you know how I feel. But I think Roy wants me to transform into a butterfly and not stay in my cocoon. But I'm letting him down, just like I did with my father. Roy loves this play, but I think this play is so wrong. Wrong. It portrays women as loose and disloyal. Relationships are built around trust, not free love. A commitment to each other. But I know all about one's faithfulness to each other. I had a wife once. She was a temptress. That says it all. She tempted me. She tempted everyone else. I believe in one's love for another, but she felt it was a foolish idea, one that formed inside my head. She called me crazy. I felt betrayed, pushed further down the rabbit hole. My mother only loved my father. father. No one else. Even Julie believes in love's commitment, but also mentioning it's simply madness. Doesn't that prove women can be trustworthy and loyal? But how can I let Roy down? Roy and I were never treated as equals by the public, abusing us verbally and physically to the point where they're even forgetting about us as human. Just because we're different. We belong in the institution. We are mental. Even Doug, crazy Doug, he burnt down the theatre. And if we say anything, then it's off to the C ward for us. Nobody takes the time to understand us. Nobody knows us. But Nick still wants us to do this play. He seems like a good director, but he reminds me of a second Roy, a nagging, bossy man. I tuned in around the time he was talking about dressing as Albanian soldiers. Then the words, "Here we are supporting the Viet Cong." That hit a nerve. Never have I been so angry. I was cut deep by that remark, so I bear hugged him. The others must surely understand, right? I mean, after all, my father fought hard in that war, and I never saw him again. Who in their right mind would support the enemy? Our enemy. Nick, he doesn't belong here amongst us. He's an outsider, on our side of the battlefield. Why is he even here if he shares Australia's views on people like us, shooting us down? His ideals take down our soldiers who were constantly protecting our country, protecting our freedom. Nick is a traitor, and I told it to his face. While I was not the best lawyer, I still remember that treason is the violation of the allegiance of a government, and by law, Nick was a traitor. All those left-wing communists in Australia are traitors. The others must have been shocked. I've never outwardly attacked someone like that. I remember Roy falling over himself because I told him to shut up and waved my fist at him. Whatever got into Henry, they must be thinking. Perhaps this changes our relationship. Maybe I don't need to be the inferior. Maybe I can play this Don Alfonso, who thinks like me. I feel bad about accusing Lewis though. He was a good man and I consider him to be a friend. I mean, after all, he did change the Albanian soldier scene, just for me. We don't want to see our Australian soldiers die in a meaningless war, is what he said. But he still doesn't get it. It is a war with meaning. This has changed me mostly. The feeling of adrenaline. Standing up for myself for the first time. It feels amazing. My confidence is through the roof. I believe in myself and that I can play Don Alfonso. In fact, I think I'm gonna sing, and my toy soldiers will be a symbol of the real soldiers going to fight in the war. Oh, I feel so good. I guess it's time to restart rehearsals. This time, I will perform the best I can. Show them the new me.
Say you want a revolution.